So we're back. Honestly, didn't think I'd finally be making this video, but here we are. For anyone who's been around TSG for a while, you already know about the long-running beef between TB and RV. I won't get into it this time since the full story could fill a whole documentary. All you need to know is that since my ban, RV, our longtime rival clan, has gotten worse, much more corrupt, power-hungry, dishonorable, and shady in their attempts to monopolize power in TSG. Their former top officer Shab used to be I Love Foods' right-hand man, their war commander, and basically knew everything going on behind the scenes. Ever since he left and started exposing them, RV had begun to fall apart under the leakage of exposed information slowly being shared around by us. RV has been cheating, making fake clans, infiltrating SG mods, and gaining their favors and filing false hacker reports to wipe out their rivals. Shab has been leading Shadow Violet against RV ever since, revealing to me many pieces of proof and evidence that indisputably show RV's shady secret actions. This made me decide that I should finally make this, preferably, final video to clear some things up in the story of TBE versus RV, and finally expose the absolute pieces of shit cancers in the community before I finally move on to other things. There were originally 3 topics I wanted to cover in this video. They all overlap a bit since everything's connected, but I had an agreement with Ruloffer that if he left the TSG community forever, I would not make the exposed video on him. So we will first focus on RV's lies, protecting pedophiles, exploiting underage players, and working with hackers too. They've used their signature carrot and stick tactic, bully or blackmail their opponents in-game, then offer to stop it all if you join them. They've tried to get TB blacklisted across other communities, rigged wars with alts and hackers, impersonated people to cause bans and dodge accountability, and even wiped entire year-long general chat histories to hide further evidence. Next, we're going to expose how RV's been infiltrating the Simple Games moderation team to get results in their favor. They've been caught duping, potentially getting free items, and pushing false hacker reports to frame their opponents. Meanwhile, legitimate players have to jump through hoops just to get real reports seen, and even then the mods either cover it up or look the other way when it comes to RV. And on top of all that, it looks like there's a possible coup brewing inside Simple Games itself, led by I Love Food and aimed at pushing out cyber, just like what happened with Lord Tachanka. We've got a lot to cover in this video, but let's start with the SGS versus TBE war so we can finally put this one to rest. Back in December 14, 2024, TBE led by Ghost went to war against a clan called SGS, which turned out to be one of RV's puppet allies that they used as a front to win wars under a lower profile name. At the time, I already knew that they were going to cheat by sneaking RV members on alt accounts, and sure enough, when the video was shown, it couldn't have been more obvious. Now, we've got definitive proof from multiple whistleblowers, 5 of them so far: Shab, Jack, Queen, Mats, and Sticky, all who were there at the war and all who told the same story. Only 3 real SGS members took part in that war: Stax, Swap, and Queen. The rest were RV main rosters: Food, Super X, Shab, Sticky, Sam, Mats, and Newbie. Shab even admitted he was supposed to hack during the war to give them the win, but his hacks didn't work because Roblox had rolled out an update that day. So why did SGS and RV do this? Simple. They've had it out for TBE since day one. TBE and RV have warred 3 times, captured a flag, base defense, and King of the Hill, all of which TBE won in a massive landslide. And you can watch the videos for yourself. They get outskilled, outplanned, outprepared, and their attempts to cheat and spy were easily exposed, each and every single time. The first 2 wars were done as friendly competitions, but once Food took control of RV and the clan turned on Azure, one of their founders, things got personal. Astray, the original founder, even flipped on our friendship to follow Food's lead against TBE to try and take our #1 spot, which we all remember how well that turned out for them. RV realized they couldn't win fair and square, so they hid their best players in SGS, who were extremely weak on their own, to ambush TBE. I was banned and making Survival Odyssey videos back then. Certainly, I would not call that a good roster at the time. We clearly chose people considered good in 1v1s, but weren't as tested in wars. EN, Clan, and Shu are good, but lag depending on the server region. Yen has always been a traitor and a spy for RV. People like Zal and especially Achilles are unreliable. I would have gotten people that I knew were good, skilled, and listened well in wars. If I were there, I would have negotiated the rules properly. TB had done almost 0 training for the war, because SGS on their own would have lost, TB main roster or not. But it wasn't SGS, it was RV. You have to keep in mind that even after cheating and sneaking in their best players, RV still lost the first 2 rounds against a washed, retired TBE team that thought that they were facing just a bunch of randoms. Scared them so much that they attacked the TBE early without the round starting with no countdown, auto losing a point. Not to mention they left after winning 3 rounds despite it being first to 5, just to avoid any chance of a comeback. They tried to say, "Oh, you attacked us when we didn't fight back the first round. It was 9v9 and turned into a 10v10 mid war. You did fight. The ref at the time counted down. You delayed the war by over an hour, both before and after the first round, because you were that desperate to try and get your hacks working. They should have auto-won 20 minutes into your tardiness. Shab was there when they fought. Azra has it all recorded. They can't keep their story straight either. Some days they insist everyone in the war was 100% SGS and trash the whistleblowers as lying traitors, even with mountains of proof, including their own admissions. But do you think RV cares about whether their win was actually legit or not? Of course not. They're just hyped for the raw clips of them winning clashes. The illusion of finally beating TBE is enough to fuel their propaganda. It doesn't matter that they stacked their strongest roster against an unprepared, semi-retired TBE squad and therefore broke the rules and auto-lost because of that, right? All that matters is they can now use this to pretend SGS broke TBE's undefeated war record, and later on, when the truth comes out that, okay, SGS cheated, but that just means RV beat you. And SGS's leader Stacks is perfectly fine being RV's lapdog since his entire TSG legacy is built on that victory RV handed him, so I'm not surprised. They'll try to tell you that they only pulled this stunt because TB was ducking them. But again, we've already thrashed them in 3 wars. The 3rd war was supposed to be the last, with the loser's leader gets kicked out of the community forever. RV lost. Did they ban Astray? No. Did they admit defeat? No. Instead, they accused us of cheating and rigging the rules, even after weeks of negotiations and unbiased SG mods, refereeing and spectating the biggest war in TSG history. They're sore losers that refuse to admit defeat, challenging us again and again each time, hoping for the one time they win that they can then claim that they're now the strongest clan. We never owed them a second of attention after the final war that they refused to respect the consequences of. They had to catch us during a time where most of the TBEs were banned and retired due to the fact that RV largely escaped duping bans purely because they weren't known enough or were secretive about their duping. They had to war us at a time where all the techniques I made were getting patched, e.g. double bow and eat bow. They even admitted they would have been running 3 hackers during the war, one of them including Shab, if his hacks hadn't failed that day. They've even done something similar to this to other clans before. They once challenged TG under the puppet clan of LCE. I was curious and joined LCE on an alt to gauge their strength. They thought that I was such a good player that they immediately added me to their war GC. They openly announced that food and 6 RVs would be there on alts. On that same day, April 13th, 2024, I joined the war server to spectate on my main and immediately identified 3 RV alts in the LCE roster as Food, Manly, and Setsuna fighting in the war for LCE, and they still ended up losing because they ran out of resources to continue fighting midway. Not to mention their alts had little to no rebirths. PDK Manly had to ask me to make furnaces and give him items mid-war so that he could continue using his alt to fight TG. RV literally told LCE to make the rule agreement of no former TBEs or RV helping, and yet still had the audacity to make alts to help in the war, because they knew we would never cheat the way they do. I guess there was a spy check needed on LCE though, not RV. But this was probably their first times doing this, and they weren't as experienced or prepared. Only a month later, they tried to pull a similar stunt. On May 11, 2024, RV warred UCN, which was a big alliance between some clans under the guise of TCL, the clan of Darklord at the time, and tried to edit away rules to allow them to win through methods that were previously agreed on both sides to be banned. We found out before the war that they were using Jayzo's alt account, which had over thousands of duped rebirth tokens worth of inventory space, to drop items, droppable and undroppable, on their opponents to overload their inventories and slow them in the war and make them unable to fight. This isn't actually necessarily immoral or wrong, as I and 2 other accounts with legitimate rebirths and high inventory space, Chohaz and Doge Runner, all deployed this tactic to win in the final war. Problem is, they had already agreed not to do it, and they slowly edited the rules out after the fact when they thought nobody was looking, so that they would be able to have the excuse to do it in the war. They still ended up breaking the rules that they didn't sneakily remove from the list, as they were supposed to start at the Bones area each round, and instead they started each round at Plateau, which is a massive base advantage compared to being on the ground level. TVC, which we will go into more detail later, then uploaded a video of the war, claiming that RV beat UCN, who they said was 51 clans combined. Oh, we beat 51 combined clans solo as RV. First of all, the server can only hold up to 40 people max, and that's disregarding the fact that half of them have to be enemies for there to be an actual fight. How the fuck are you saying you beat over 40 clans? Second of all, UCN was probably about 5 main clans max: ZCD, TG, ATL, SSC, and some former TBE members that still played the game at the time. Slayer, the TBE founder, wasn't even playing. I wasn't even playing. Look at the final roster on both sides in the war. You can maybe stretch it and say 5 TBE or 5 TBE adjacent members were there, so a third of the roster. Compare that with just even the people with RV in the name. 7 people, literally every single guy in that roster was RV. They also had their own alliance at the time called TGA. Why didn't they use that to fight our alliance? Because they know for clans as big and as independent as us, in an official war where you can schedule when all the best players and representatives can join, having a whole alliance playing actually is worse than just having a singular clan join. Usually clans have their main time zones and regions, so there's ping differences, language barriers, communication issues, less synergy between roster members. People aren't as adamant to play well when it's just an alliance reputation on the line, because it's a layer of detachment to the reputation of your actual clan. And RV especially knows this because they keep trying to merge clans into them instead of straight up allying. They even went so far as to create their SA ally group to turn it all back into RV later on. Do I even want to start listing out all the former allies that got lost in the mergers with RV? JV, SY, RZY, AK, KND, OE, IF, MR, TLR, HD, EGE, RSE, SGS, LKPV, KZ, 7X, SC, OYZ, TAS, ATL, LCE, VK, SKE, HH, SB, OS, TAA, GGCU, Uzumaki, TV, ZT, KMA, TFG, RW, ACR. We don't expect our allies to merge with us because we actually respect their individual clan identity, and we want there to be more prosperous clans in TSG. We ally most clans that are small and weak because we want to nurture them, to defend them from being bullied and exploited by clans like RV. We actually welcome competition, just not through the dishonorable tactics that RV uses. Is having a large ally coalition useful, for example, to rally fast in public server raids? Yes, absolutely. Is it useful in scheduled and planned official wars? Not a chance. But enough about the clan drama. We're going to move on to the main story. The hacking, the alting, the false reports, the framing. The earliest signs of Food and RV and Astray appealing to hacks is when Azurite admitted to RV having a secret exploiter division back in December 1st, 2023. It was apparently made originally to fight other exploiters, but was increasingly further justified to be used against innocent players. I don't find anything too wrong with the desperation to use hackers before the arrival of in-game moderation in simple games. I just don't like how it was being used against people who weren't explicitly hacking. Likely people that they just had suspicion and accused of closet cheats, or people they didn't like in general. I Love Food has absolutely been proven to be attempting to use exploits to his advantage since October 14th, 2024 through the evidence. That day, he DM'd Shab to convince him to exploit because he realized that you can frame other people for hacking or having duped items. He showed Shab an example of someone being framed for hacks. A person with the same display as the one being framed will openly hack in front of the recorder. The recorder will go into the player list and focus on the person being framed, show that the display is the same, but he won't scroll any further in order to hide the fact that there's a second person in the player list with the same display, which would be the hacker being recorded to frame the real player. Food tells Shab to change the display name of the framing account privately by using the friend nickname system to make the report even less susceptible to getting caught. He tells him to put on a bag and armor for this as well. The hack they first used was Kayaware. Food sends Shab the server and tells him exactly how to buy it, telling him to use an alt. He even interrupts something Shab was doing to make sure that he gets the hacks because he views it as so important to him that he had to risk agitating his own trusted member just to get him to do what he wants. Look at how he emphasizes the importance of Shab getting hacks and redirects the conversation multiple times to make sure he gets the hacks. He tells him to silent cheat, and his justification for that is that apparently, a long time ago, someone in the ATL clan 1v2'd him and he accused him of secretly hacking. Now, if that's not the biggest skill, okay, anyway. He also tells Shab to hack with the enemy in raids as a way to frame them as a group for using hackers, and to add their clan users into their displays to further ruin their clan image. He is told to situationally cover the hacks up and not cheat, and purposely throw to reduce suspicion on them unless he is in a more dire situation where he is able to get away with it in the chaos, like a 10v10 clash. He specifically talked about getting down their enemies, whether it is a strong or weak enemy. As long as they are active, they are targeted first. He suggests starting with the randoms, the new players first, most likely because targeting more important people will draw attention to the matter. They even discussed bringing down the back then ACS leader Osamu, aka Samurai. The only reason it wasn't followed upon was the fact that Food didn't think it was possible. Established clan leaders won't just go down without a fight. Usually they are able to prove their innocence one way or the other. Less than 2 days later, Food tells Shab to make sure he has kill aura hacks in the war. If anybody was negotiating a war with RV around the time of October 16, 2024, congratulations, you auto won that war. Right after this, he mentions a ZCD alt closet cheating, and his reasoning is he mistook the inventory no slow bug for a no slow hack, and he just assumed he was using aimbot and kill aura. October 17th, 2024, Shab gets the hack script. Food helps him test it in a private server. Food mentions that they would just blame the reach on the game's shitty servers. The game is so horrible that people are using it as an excuse to hide their hacks. After testing, they immediately get to work on false reporting. Their first target, ATL Balam. The alt has their user changed to ATL Balam and joins a public server. The real Balam is invited to fight RV in a raid. They talk about forging and photoshopping to make the evidence look real. They get their clip and leave, and Shab is told never to use the account again. About an hour later, I Love Food publishes the finished product. One false report coming right up. Oh, actually, it shows the real Balam coming back. No worries, cut it out. Account deactivated, recording edited. This is what the end result looks like. Next alt ready, user ZCD top. He's gonna closet on randoms to practice now, and once he gets better, he should closet on his main. Let's call right now to show you how the hacks work. Okay, just use reach. Can you do 27% speed boost or any faster? A little bit slower, put it at 8. If you closet, you won't get banned. You're gonna cheat on your main in official war? But reach only. Nothing too crazy, guys. It's all good. It's all good, guys. He then tells Shad to gear his ult on his own. You think you'd treat the guy working on framing people with hacks for you better than that. How did he not betray you earlier? They then play another raid and he closets again while PTK is on his main account because PTK Manly had his account banned since August. The very next day, Shad gets a PC executor that allows him to hack much better than on mobile. October 21st, Balam was banned for that fake report. The Grand Council knew about Shab hacking. Astray, PTK, Natabit, Super X, Lotion. I wonder if any of these people did the right thing and called Food out on it to stop the hackers. October 31st, they talk about hacking in official wars again. Make it 7 max IX. Use the kill aura. Some hacking script terms I don't know about. November 8th, 2024, Food asks for Shab's TSG accounts, suddenly saying that they're splitting off into 4 clans. AV, Foods' alt, Sam and 2 others. DT, Sticky and Mats, DL, KLV and his people, and IV, Vortex, Super X, Newbie, Rayansh, and Lotion. He says that Shab's main account will be shared by 6 people. Sam, Vortex, Super X, Newbie, Rayansh, and Lotion. For when RV is in trouble, they can help each other on their respective other main accounts. When Shab says they should leave TSG, Food said that they can't leave yet because they're losing and they don't want to leave on a loss. Imagine doing all this because you can't admit you're losing. They reorganize their alts. Alt 1 to Aura levels, Vortex, and Newbie underscore RV. Alt 2 to Super X 123, and RV Rayansh Gaming. Shab's alt to Vix 0001, Sam, Lotion, and Get 7, Haram, and Sticky, Mats, and Food with their own alts. Also, Ronick had access to an alt of Foods too, and he would have gotten logged out of it if he didn't help RV. November 10th, RV infiltrates a XV-NAK war. Whichever the clan that was that had to fight RV hiding on alts, congratulations, you get an auto win. November 17th, Food asks about Shab using kill aura in what is most likely the Grand Council group chat. Shab confirms he can indeed be there with kill aura. Whichever clan was playing the war with RV at the time, congratulations, you get an auto win. November 18, Food begs Shab to tell Mats, who he was beefing with at the time, that Food isn't in a server fighting against Mats on an alt right now, and tells him to say that Food is asleep, even though he is very much not asleep. December 7th, 2024, SGS friendly wars with TBE a week before the real official war, and they're already using alts. It is on this day that Shab starts talking to the new I Love Food account, which used to be the Hyo that he pretended was an entirely different person just to be able to go to the SGS war. And here, proof that Astray at least has access to Foods' account. He took 30k out of 50k Atlantean without his permission, thinking he had 200k. Now, whoever has 50k Atlantean just to guess, just to gather, probably not legit. Now, a leader who thinks you had 200k ATL, they're all duping. February 24, 2024, shows them talking about duping. Shab once had access to Foods' account. They have secret dupers like Newbie and partnerships with Rex, Devils, and Shazane. March 1st, 2025. Food reveals he has access to a person called Ivari's account, which has 600k gold. They test a bug that allows you to force reload either your bow or musket by putting it into your inventory and back. Food says that Natabet has aimbot and suggests giving this macro for Natabet to use in an official war. He then once again accuses with no proof that GC has an aimbotter in their roster, a person called Sky Yi. He uses this as a justification to allow Natabet to use hacks in official wars. He suggests having 2 or more aimbotters in a 15v15 and only 1 aimbotter in a 10v10 because he believes they'll be caught otherwise. He then revises this later on after looking at Natabet's hacks saying that as long as the top players are the ones with the aimbot, that people can suspect foul play in 10v10s with two aimbotters, but they will never be able to prove it. Shab suggests an address changer so that Nanobit can avoid hardware bans from getting caught with hacks. Food admits that everybody knows Nanobit aimbots in RV because he mentions it in military comms all the time. He reveals that Jason is duping and tries to help him with it. He talks about RV using a duping method since over a year and a half ago. So I'm just looking through more of the DMs, and it turns out he's deleted some. So unfortunately, the full scroll through of all the DMs has some stuff deleted in them. But we did do a quick dive in a week earlier of the more important DMs in both accounts. So we've caught all the important stuff, just probably not all of it. On March 5th, 2025, Food shows how Nanobet got his hacks from Matrix, sending the Discord link to Matrix Hub. He explicitly remarks that it works on both TSG and Rivals, and then says he's going to go buy it for himself. He asks Shab to get it for him. They discuss how to not get their alts banned when one of the accounts gets banned. March 11th, 2025, Nanobet openly sends literal aimbot in the military chat again. Mats can dive fast. He was on Joker's account. Yet another shared account. March 15th, 2025, PS5 dupe only works with chests now, so they're actively talking about dupes because they use them. Food then makes a group chat with Shab and Sam that he deletes later to hide what was said. Wanna guess what it was? Of course, it was to convince Sam to start hacking. March 16th, 2025. They're talking about stuff that they don't want SG Mods to see, obviously hacks. Speaker is here and we have multiple people who can exploit. I got exploits Lamau. I'm a hack on all accounts. They discuss making sure the other alt accounts, all with game passes, aren't affected once one of their alts gets permabanned. Shab reveals that he gave his exploit key for Sam to use. March 23rd, 2025. Sam joined on Abrax. Sam has an alt account called Abrax. There's a large gap before they DM each other again because there's clearly more in their group chats. Food talks about whether Shab will get one of the alts IP banned because one of his ones got IP banned. RV were tweaking perfect hack settings to closet cheat. They didn't know perfect settings until around this summer when you could see them actively testing. Shab and Food were in a private server testing speed so that they could move the tiniest bits faster than normal while being undetected. They were testing the aimbot, the speed, the smoothness, the level of predict, the closet speed, everything. Any top RV player that knew about the cheats yet didn't snitch about it were possible candidates for getting cheats as well. On the same day, Food was testing speed hacks with Cutie Cat. Does we need to pass the intel? Who is he passing the intel to, I wonder? Probably all the other RV members and allies that also hack. Food literally wonders to himself if EL hacks. So you see, he doesn't even actually know. Is him not knowing for sure whether EL hack's going to stop him from sending his own hackers and alts into official wars? Probably not. They start talking about having to go in close range because Matrix doesn't work on long range. Then they talk about their current mounts, Khan, Brain, and Quantity, suggesting that they're probably involved or at least know about them hacking as well. August 3rd, 2025, Yen and Blackest are spies. They try to cheat in the SS versus SY official war. Yen has never stopped being a spy for RV. Anytime you see him join your clan, just know he's a spy for RV. He still hasn't gotten over his debt back in August 24, 2024, when he was bought the Spawn Game Pass probably. Says Rudel is coming, the known hacker is coming, Gemby went on the LC_Sam account, more examples of RV cheating to win, more confirmation that Yen and Blackest were supposed to sabotage SS for SY. August 4th, 2025, they say 5 aimbotters versus 3 saboteurs, SS versus SY. They're gonna have 5 aimbotters and 3 saboteurs. Jesus. August 11th, they get involved with desync and hitbox extender F flags for PTK. Very easy to play off as lag. Says we need the full squad, me, you, Sam, and Nanobet. So this is the main hack squad. On August 25, Shab suggests that RV get more super soldiers. Food doesn't deny the idea, just says that they need to be careful about getting caught. Food asks if Shab clipped the raid against KZ, ACS, TD, and SS. Shab says he did, but he can't use it because he was blatantly hacking in it. So then they ask the horsefucker Khan whether he has the clips instead. So you can see that Khan always helps cover up them hacking. September 3rd, 2025, he says, we're going to need a way to get the people to be driven by hatred. This guy is not a real person. This is a Disney villain. He says, I'm going to use Astray's YouTube and Discord. He has access to Astray's accounts to continue to pretend that he's Astray in raids and wars. September 5th, he reveals fast flags that make you jump one step higher to infinite glide. I called this out as soon as I saw them do it too. I knew those were closet hacks. He says, I got the war clip, but I'm obviously cheating. Cheating in the war. He says, Ivara has 10k poison arrows. He has access to another person's account. He says, I've got Rayanj slaving right now. So people like Rayanj were used to grind stuff for RV. There's here some deleted evidence about SS versus SY. Now this war is particularly crazy because the SS versus SY war, if you remember, that supposedly would have had 5 aimbotters and 3 saboteurs, still resulted in a win for SS over RV, funding for SY, which is Boyd Ree's clan. Food deleted these messages quite a while ago, so that there isn't a recording, but the screenshots match in with the timeline. September 9th, Shab asked Food to give him adamantite from Ashley's account, showing that Food has access to the account. We've been saying this for years. September 14th, they experiment more with desync. And that's the hacking and alting of the incriminating DMs. I left out a few to go more in depth with them later on. Most we ever did was share the dupe, which was never said to be forbidden, much less bannable. We also did the famous hammer item nuke that clogged over 30 RVs as inventories. But this is exactly why when RV keeps pushing the narrative, 19v19 war we will record. No, you won't. All 19 people recording is unrealistic, even for a clan as big as TB. If you wanted to prove you could do that, and I've asked them multiple times, all 19 of your roster should all go into a private server at the same time and record you guys doing anything for 5 minutes and send it to us. It wouldn't even happen at the test, much less the real war. There will be some technical oopsies issues. Some people will forget to record, and then RV will just pretend that there's so much plausible deniability. Oh, but some people recorded their PO. They don't care about the rules. They just want to record themselves doing a wipe so they can use it for the propaganda. And again, all this proof is separate from the blatant and recent video evidences of RV closet hacking, by the way, because they've been adding much more hackers to their military ranks ever since Shab left to help lead SV against them, because they can't handle losing that bad that they would rather continue to implicate more people with the risk of hacking.